Balkhash ranks the 14th in the list of the world's largest lakes. On the Eurasian continent, it is second in size after the Caspian Sea. The western part of the lake is fresh and the eastern section is salty. They are divided by the narrow strait of Uzynaral, behind which almost all the time storms rage. From the south, 7 Jetty-Su rivers fall into Balkhash. The lake's northern coast goes along the great steppe of Saryaka, and almost everywhere you can reach it by car. The southern Balkhash area is a totally different pair of shoes, as it is a giant maze of channels and lakes amidst a boundless sea of reeds. There you can move only by boat and only in some parts of the area. The Ile-Balkhash Nature Reserve, a specially protected area, occupies a large part of the southern Balkhash area. People call it the Tiger Reserve, as it hosts a recently launched unique project to revive the Turan taiga. The Outdoor KZ team spent almost a whole year in the mountains, and now it's high time to get acquainted with desert and near-water ecosystems. Together with the Nomad Explorer Travelers community, we will go to the Taukum and Sarıyusik Atarau deserts and make a big boat trip along the coast of Lake Balkhash. All the discoveries in the area have been long made. Still being the true travelers, we will find and stop over in best bays, go ashore and get acquainted with various landscapes and wild animals. Ahead of us, there are also exciting meetings with local residents, scientists and nature defenders. Uncle Max, I found it on Google. Do you know that Balkhash district is 3 times larger than Belgium, with a population of only 50,000 people? In fact, now we are in the most densely populated part of Lake Balkhash area along the Ili River Valley. Not a soul lives where we will go next. In arid climate, water's second name is life. All settlements and livestock breeding centers are concentrated along river valleys. The road Almaty-Bakanas-Karoy goes along the Ili. Departing from the road only a few kilometers, you immediately find yourself in a desert.
Сейчас мы заедем в районный центр в Баканас.
We want to stop in the district center of Balkhash, go to the reserve's office there and decide what to do and where to go. There's no dryland road and no direct waterway to Korzhin. We need to combine the dryland and water sections of the journey. We hope that the reserve's management will advise us something. All those eager to visit the premises of the nature reserve need to stop by its central office in Balkhash. The team meets Ulan Maobayev, the reserve's deputy general director, and Sharip Yasayev, head of its security unit. We are the Nomad Explorer team and travel across Kazakhstan. This time we decided to go to southern Balkhash region to see what it's like, see the Saksaul woods, and together with the Outdoor KZ TV program, go from Karauzyak to Korzhin. I heard that Korzhin is a very interesting place. How can we get there? It's really hard getting to Korzhin by water due to high waves. In western wind, it's not possible at all. By road, it's also a bad idea. All roads are overgrown, plus the salt marsh. Believe me, you will not make it no matter how you go. If you are still planning to get to Korzhin by water, make sure you prepare most thoroughly. After the narrow section, the sea gets wide and deep again, which naturally means that waves have more space for accelerating. Try to stay close to the shore and do not go far into the sea. There are a couple of dugouts there and one floating 2-storied hotel. There are people there as well. We have a security checkpoint in Kugali, plus a forest fighting station. We are planning to start replanting the Asiatic poplar woods in the Kara-Balkhash and Korsa floodplains. It was here previously, nice and dense. Fires are the worst enemy of floodplain ecosystems. They had happened before humans came here also, but with the economic development of Lake Balkhash area, their number is increasing every year. Thus, firefighting is one of the main tasks of the reserve. The reserve's response unit is leaving to check a signal that just came. They saw smoke about 5 kilometers from here. We need to go and check it out. Fires happen because of mere negligence, but sometimes farmers deliberately set the tugai woods on fire to renew pasture grass. Every fire causes huge damage to the fragile local biodiversity, thus the punishment is quite severe as well. A huge fine. Both of those fires did not cross the limits of the Ile-Balkhash Reserve because we localized and put them out earlier. People not engaged in conservation think that to preserve biodiversity, it's enough to ban hunting and that's all. Yet the experts understand that ecosystem preservation is a much more sophisticated process requiring significant scientific backing. There is a state project to increase the area of forest cover in Kazakhstan. Our reserve includes huge areas covered with saxaul woods. Our task for the future is to increase it by at least 20%. 3 out of 5 high-profile environmental projects, these under the special attention of the government of Kazakhstan and international conservation organizations, are implemented within the reserve's limits.
Если говорить о биоразнообразии Казахстана, то здесь следует отметить о 5 таких.
In terms of Kazakhstan's biodiversity, 5 special projects should be highlighted, focusing specifically on Turan taiga, Caspian seal, saxaul, snow leopard, the development of ecotourism and recreation in national parks. Just recently, within the framework of the action plan to promote the Saxaul national brand, they held a designated Save Saxaul campaign in Almaty. The 4 tons of sand installation was demonstrated in the city's center for 2 weeks. Why did you decide to call your installation 4 tons of sand? The idea behind the installation's name is that one saxaul tree can bind up to 4 tons of sand. We wanted to draw attention to this particular environmental issue. Those traveling across our Hanguls know that the sands are approaching. This eco-installation devoted to saxaul is one of the first steps to promote environmental projects and ideas. It clearly shows the consequences of us continuing to cut saxaul in the predatory manner as we have been doing until present. Environmentalists and the police will be checking restaurants and shashlik places for illegal saxaul use. Public catering enterprises complying with environmental legislation will be issued special certificates, while these violating the requirements will be punished. In 2006, as per a governmental decree, the Ile saxaul subspecies was included in the list of rare and endangered plant species. Saxaul cutting was completely banned in Kazakhstan in 2013. Quite often in rural settlements, saxaul represents the only source of energy. What can be done in such cases? There's usually lots of sun where saxaul grows. We can introduce renewable energy like wind and solar. There are multiple examples already. We have implemented similar demo projects in several countries across the world under the United Nations Development Programme, and we will do the same in Kazakhstan. We have a new project promoting the use of solar energy and its alternative sources among local communities. The total area of Saksol woods in Kazakhstan exceeds 6 million hectares, which is roughly one-half of all the forests in the country. The Saksol Conservation Action Plan has two components: technical and environmental education. Increasing the area of forest plantations, creating genetic reserves, fighting fires and pests constitutes the technical approaches of addressing the issue. Yet, environmental education is equally important because whatever rules and norms mean something only if they are respected by the public. Large-scale Saksol cutting is catastrophic as to its consequences, and this fact has to be clear for all the citizens of Kazakhstan.
Сегодня мы разрабатываем планы действий.
Today we are developing action plans under the 5 grand projects which we believe to be extremely important for Kazakhstan. The work under the Turan Tiger project has already begun and will continue at least until 2025. The first planned interventions aim to restore and rehabilitate the flora and fauna of the Ile River Delta. Given the fact that the efforts have already started, we are sure to have certain tangible results by the end of the project.
К концу обозначенного срока реальные результаты.
The reserve's science unit has an ambitious task of convincing local residents to start growing the Asiatic poplar saplings from seeds, as previously and up until now, they did it only by way of digging out and replanting the younglings. The reserve's experience of using this very technique is by far innovative. This poplar is only 3 weeks old and it was grown from a seed.
На территории резервата есть
Special delta vegetation grows on the reserve's premises. There are unique Saksol communities and common poplar delta forests. Our goal is to expand the area of both Saksol and poplar woods. Having learned so many new things about the Balkhash region, the outdoor KZ team felt itself theoretically well prepared for the journey except for a couple of minor technical issues. The matter was that a motorboat's load capacity does not allow taking on board several barrels of gasoline. Yet with the overall distance of our trip, we needed quite a few of them. Finally, it was decided that Maxim would go to Kara-Uzyak to negotiate about the boat and Dauren would bring an extra supply of fuel to a meeting point on the bank of Balkhash. To the left of the Ile River there stretch the Taukum sands, and to the right there's the 200-kilometer strip of the Sari-Yusik Atirau desert. 150 kilometers away from its mouth, the Ile River begins to split into sleeves, forming a vast delta which is considered to start after the Akjar Bridge.
Ну вот здесь, Даурен, мы с тобой временно попрощаемся.
This is where we will have to say goodbye to each other, Dauren, at least for some time. They also called this bridge Konaevsky because it was built on the initiative of Dinmukamed Akhmedovich Konaev, and also because Konaev was born in this area. You will go along the Ile's right bank and I will follow the left one. If everything works out as planned, then in 2 days we will meet at Cape Sadibek. I will come by boat from the sea and you will come from the dry land. Deal, Uncle Max. See you soon and stay safe. The road runs along the border between the delta and the sands. Close to the village of Zhalturanga, the dunes are painted with a bright poplar foliage. Zhalturanga translates as poplar giving birth to wind. Its bright leaves thrill in the wind even in quiet weather. Every people has animal and plant species of special attention which were previously called sacred and which scientists now call flagship. Poplar is very important for the Kazakhs. In the past, the Ilis Delta was covered with thick floodplain woods, but the construction of the Kapchagai Dam and fires did what they did. Some lake systems disappeared completely. In some places, the tugai woods got strongly depleted. For thousands of years, poplar had protected humans from the approaching desert, sheltered us from the scorching sun in summer and the freezing cold in winter. It's high time for us to pay off our debt. Meanwhile, Dauren is approaching the village of Karoy. This is where the road ends. Further out, his path to Balkhash goes through the Saksaul forest. For many years, Karoy's residents have been not only heating their homes with Saksaul, but have also conducted its industrial-scale logging to cover the needs of the city. Gradually, the area of Saksaul woods has decreased. Big and old Saksaul trees reach 5 meters in height. Now you will not see such giants around. Yet, with the launch of the reforestation efforts, young Saksaul plantation forests are emerging. In 50 years' time, some of these trees will for sure grow as tall. It's 7 o'clock. I've covered about 33 kilometers from Karoy and still need to go about 37 more. Meanwhile, Maxim is approaching the Karouzak village.
Это рыболовецкая деревушка Караузяк. Лет 30 назад здесь было несколько...
This fishing village is called Karouzak. About 30 years ago, there were several clay huts, but the growing demand for fishing tourism has changed the place beyond recognition. Now there are several tourist camps around, popular among not only those coming from different regions of Kazakhstan, but also our guests from near and far abroad. Exactly from here, the Maitan tourist camp, Viktor Borisovich Chulkov agreed to guide our group to Korzhin. A very mysterious and difficult to reach place. It's impossible getting there from dry land, and it's quite risky reaching it from water due to sudden storm winds. Viktor Borisovich is an experienced sailor, and we trust him with our lives.
Опытный моряк, и мы доверяем своей жизни ему.
In Soviet times, there was a fishing collective farm here that bought fish from the fishermen at 12 kopecks per kilogram. The annual plan for one fisherman was 18 tons of fish. Today, local fishermen are paid 200 tenge per kilogram of fish. Yet, it was not the price of fish that changed Karouzak's appearance. Life in these ends fully transformed due to rapid tourism development. Karouzak was the first among fishing villages to switch to fishing tourism. It turned out it was quite profitable. Each tourist usually catches a little fish, but pays not only for the fish per se, but also for the service.
Мое твердое убеждение, что там, где вовремя уже перешли.
I strongly believe that in places where they switch to sports and amateur fishing tourism in due time, like in Karouzak, for example, everything is thriving today. People are earning more, new jobs are appearing.
Ежегодно мы с друзьями приезжаем провести свои выходные.
Every year, my friends and I come to spend a couple of weekends in the Ili Delta in the southern Balkhash region.
Очень шикарная.
The local nature is great. Fishing here is excellent. It's really great that our government is paying more and more attention to preserving this beautiful tourist location. I've heard that they are currently working to restore our population of Turan taiga. It's great news. I'm sure that if we continue in the same vein, soon we will see not only tigers, but also tiger cubs in our wild nature.
Тигры со своими тигрятами.
Balkhash region is popular among both fishermen and underwater hunters. The abundance of fish and high water transparency attract underwater fans from all over the world.
Призываю всех приезжающих сюда, в это уникальное место, Балкаш.
I urge everybody to come to this unique place, Balkhash, and protect nature, treat it with respect and preserve our natural heritage. The expedition to Korzhin starts tomorrow morning, and what to do in the evening? You can try yourself out in a type of tourism new for Balkhash area. Ecotourism or observing wildlife is becoming increasingly popular, and not only here.
Здесь достаточно выйти на берег в любом месте.
Here the only thing you need to do to run into fresh bull tracks is go near water.
Слышно и иногда.
You can hear them and even see sometimes in the evenings. Yet we're only a couple of kilometers away from a busy village of Korzhin. A short boat ride and we find ourselves on a deserted island. Here, Viktor Borisovich is feeding wild animals with kitchen waste. We have to cover it with something, for example with boxes, as crows otherwise immediately pilfer it.
Я поставлю вот эту лестницу.
I'll pull up the ladder here. Do you know that human smell spreads horizontally? If I climb, say, 3 meters, I think my smell will pass above the animals and they will not smell me. The sun is sinking in the reeds, and the twilight is filling up with suspicious sounds. Someone's definitely wandering around. A badger approaches the feed box like the king of the hill. It only appears fat and clumsy. The truth is that it is a serious predator. Suddenly, a blood-curdling scream comes from behind the thickets, and grey silhouettes start moving in the darkness. Jackals are not hurrying towards the feed box, instead they send in a scout. In jackal packs, such dangerous missions are usually performed by the least dominant individuals. The jackal is afraid of approaching the badger, while the latter cares less about the jackal. Apparently, badgers are above jackal in the tugai table of ranks. Yet, both the badger and the jackal, as on command, quickly leave their festive table. The reeds are cracking as if a tank army is approaching, which is not far from the truth. It's the boars. Boars follow strict subordination too. According to boars' ethics, while the chief is eating, its subordinates are respectfully standing aside and waiting for their turn. After the midnight adventures, you can relax on the tourist camp premises in full comfort. Shower, good dinner and even Wi-Fi to post the fresh photos in the social media. And here comes the morning. The expedition gear is packed, the fuel tanks are full, and the extra 200 liters of fuel is there too. It should be enough to get to Cape Jibek, where Dauren is supposed to be waiting for us with additional gasoline. At last, the long-awaited expedition begins. What is the distance that we need to cover today? I hope to make 150 to 200 kilometers. Despite small waves, fishermen are at work. The catch today is rather small so far, but it's not evening yet. Luck might still come. Locals refer to Ile-Balkhash as sea. In fact, the air is quite refreshing. The wind is not too strong, but raising a decent wave. Just imagine what's going on here during storm. Meanwhile, Dauren is already waiting for his friend at Cape Jibek at the reserve's checkpoint. We are at the Kugali checkpoint. The checkpoint is located in a strategically important location. From the ledge of Cape Jibek, you can get a really good view both on the dry land and Balkhash.
Ну вот, перед нами резерват. Впереди видите саксаульники.
The reserve is right in front of us. In the front you can see the Saksaul woods. According to Jibek, poaching has almost disappeared here in recent years.
Наблюдается рост
Animal populations are steadily growing. There are plenty of boars and hares.
зайцев.
The firefighting response unit is standing by day and night, monitoring the surroundings for signs of smoke or fire. The tasks of our organization are to increase the number of different animals as well as to create jobs for local residents, including by way of increasing the number of small grants. We are working to involve as many local residents as possible in the sustainable management of natural resources.
Погода замечательная, дует небольшой ветерок. Надеюсь, так же и останется.
The weather is wonderful, the wind is slight, and hopefully it will stay like this for the whole day.
Осталось дождаться День Макса
Let Uncle Max come, and off we go to Korzhin.
до места Korzhin.
The long-awaited meeting between the marine and dryland expedition teams comes at last. The boat has safely reached the Tugai checkpoint, but it's not so easy to come ashore. The sand ridge stretches for about 50 meters. We will have to pull out the engine and pull the boat to the shore by hand. It's risky because the wind direction might change and water level may drop any second. If so, it will be impossible to push the boat back into the water. If the western wind comes in, it will blow the boat over there, and it will be impossible to bring it back. It's like a sledgehammer banging on the boat's wall. Bang, 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 bang. It even broke the display on our satellite phone. It seems to be working, but I cannot dial anything. This place is called Tugai. The local call it Lenin because during the Soviet times this bust ended up here in some miraculous way. Now it serves one of the Ile-Balkhash Reserve's checkpoints. It's also a firefighting station. There's a fire truck and a tractor. In the event of fire, the response unit takes off very quickly. The green strip stretches along the lake's shore. Far away, you can see the Saksaul forests of the Uzynaral desert. They say that about 100–200 years ago, the coast was covered with vast poplar forests. The only thing left of them is the relict poplar grove in Tugai. The fact that it remained gives us hope that with the help of forest plantations and thorough care, the reserve will be able to restore the Asiatic poplar woods in this area. This is the place where they experiment with growing poplar saplings from seeds. Do you know that here they will grow two poplar species, alternate-leaved and glaucous-leaved? The outdoor KZ team has learned that very soon they will be releasing the first herd of Bukhara deer, the Hanguls, into the wild not far from here. The team has collectively decided that it would be unforgivable to miss such an event. The Hanguls in the southern Balkhash region were exterminated 150 years ago. Last December, the first batch consisting of 5 deer were brought from the Sirdarya National Park. The animals were placed in a temporary open-air cage. Over the past year, they have perfectly adapted to the new conditions, and now came the solemn moment of releasing them into the wild nature. It's only 15 kilometers to the Korzhin Ranger Center, the temporary headquarters of the project's working group. A lot of work is still ahead, but the joint efforts of the government of Kazakhstan and the Worldwide Fund for Nature are already yielding results. Both Kazakh and foreign scientists are engaged in the project. Project consultants came from the Far East, Uzbekistan, Moscow and other regions. We are currently designing angulate counting methods to be used in the Ile-Balkhash Reserve. We expect that in 1 year we will develop reliable methods based on drones and thus obtain more accurate data compared to that obtained based on the conventional winter route accounting method. Satellite collars were installed on 2 deer before the release. Every 2 hours, they will transmit data on the animal's movements. Based on modern research methods, scientists will be able to accurately establish the configuration of herd movements and predict their behavior. This knowledge will be necessary in the nearest future when hundreds of animals will be moved to the Balkhash region after this trial batch. WWF consultants are conducting trainings on the use of modern gadgets to monitor the state of wild animal populations. It turns out the release will take place at night. Of course, this is upsetting, but what can we do? Rules are rules.
К сожалению, мы сегодня этого не увидим в темноте.
Unfortunately, in the dark, we'll not be able to see this historical moment. Exactly 150 years ago, the Bukhara deer or the Hanguls disappeared from the southern Balkhash area. Tonight, the deer will return to their natural environment through this gate. The scientists and the reserve staff are a little worried. How will the animals behave in new conditions?
Что мягкий выпуск был, чтобы оленей не напугать, мы специально ночью открываем.
To make the release as easy as possible for the animals, we decided to do it at night.
Здесь фотоловушки.
We'll open the cage, install the photo traps and just leave not to scare them. It's better for them to move in and out unconstrained. They need to get used to the wild, as before they were kept in an open air but still a cage. Animal relocation techniques and rules have been developed long time ago, but each individual case is associated with its own unique features and emergencies, which are impossible to anticipate. Therefore, scientists and environmentalists from different countries will be carefully following the Balkhash experiment.
Мы открываем решетку вольера, и для того, чтобы проконтролировать процесс.
We are opening the cage, but in order to be able to control the animals' release into the wild, we have installed photo traps. The staff of our institute will supervise and monitor this process for it to comply with all the approved methods and scientific approaches. It seems nothing special has happened. The inspectors have just opened the open-air cage. Yet, we know that we are witnessing an important event. After 100 years of absence, the Hanguls are returning to their homeland. It's time for the Outdoor KZ team to say goodbye to the reserve staff, as tonight we'll still need to return to Cape Jibek to get on the boat and continue our great water journey. To get to Korzhin before it gets dark, we need to start as early in the morning as possible. The expedition will cross the strait of Uzynaral, the eastern part of Balkhash, open to storms, as well as will reach the island of Korzhin amidst the mysterious edge of 1,000 lakes and canals. If we get lucky, we will reach the mouth of the Ile-Balkhash River. See the salty part of Lake Balkhash in our next episode.